Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. Author and certified financial planner Jeff Serino joins me this morning, and he'll explain what you need to do to prepare for retirement and how to find a financial planner that's a good fit for you. Later on, we'll hear from Maisha Wilson. She's owner of New Life Fitness Camp and will tell us how to get healthy and stay healthy throughout the year. On the broadcast after that, the president and the CEO of the Diversity Center of Northeast Ohio, Peggy Zone Fisher, and Paramjit Singh of the Cleveland Coalition for Peace and Nonviolence are here to talk about diversity and multicultural education. Good morning again. I'm Leon Bibb. This is Kaleidoscope, and so we begin. Beginning with Jeff Serino, who's an author and a financial planner, and good to have you with us, Jeff.
Thank you, Leon. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Things are well in the financial planning business?
Well, there's good advice has never been needed more than now.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I really felt the need to write the book was to help arm investors with some more of the knowledge that is not really put out there, to them publicly, typically. So
the book Jeff Serino is talking about is his book, The Skinny on How to Have a Fat Retirement. And I guess we're all looking for fat retirements, but this is the skinny, or the information on how to get there. I love the title.
Oh, thank you.
Bottom line is, how do we get there? How do we get to fat retirements?
Well, the skinny was just meant to be that it's a fairly quick read. It's very direct. There's no fluff in there. At least I didn't think there was. But it's really just packed with a lot of information to help people identify hidden costs and fees in their investments. But most importantly, what questions to ask a financial advisor. Many people just really don't know what they don't know. So this gives specific questions to ask anyone that they sit with that's going to give them advice so that they could help better protect themselves.
What should be the first question you think a client should ask that financial planner?
Well, the first one would have to be, is this recommendation that you're providing for me, is this really truly in my best interest now? What are its tax treatments? Something like that, basically to essentially
to get the most to get the most out of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
When I worked with a financial planner years ago, and still do work with one, the thing I said was, what must I do, my family do, so that we never drop below this level of living we're in right now? We don't want to drop below this. Right. What must I do? That's what I said.
Well,
good question.
Very good question. Very good. First of all, you have to look at to make sure that what your plan is, you know what your risk is in your mix of assets. And many people are walking around and really don't know what that number is. And that number can easily be identified. The other thing is to really make sure that you're properly diversified. A lot of advisors talk about diversity, but they don't really properly execute it like they could.
Now, we talk about diversity. You're talking about how much stocks, how many bonds, what other kind of things, right. Treasury notes or whatever we can have.
A good mix of assets that don't all move in the same direction at the same time. That's the best way to lower your risk and to increase your returns over the years. So watching your costs, watching the tax effects of your investments are all things that will help you at least stay at your current state of living or better.
When I watched that anchorman on television say the stock market was down today, and that anchorman may be me saying that,
maybe.
Should I be worried when the stock market goes down about my investments that are tied up in the stock market?
Well, it depends on a lot of things. First of all, it depends on the age of that person and how long from that point, are they going to be drawing income from it. So I tell people in one of the chapters that when you hit over 50, 55-ish, there's no exact age, but you become a different investor whether you realize it or not, because this is hopefully the last third of your life, and you don't have a lot of the things you had in the first few stages of accumulation, which you don't have as much time to recover from losses. So you may have to be a little more conservative, perhaps. That depends a lot. But if you're properly diversified and the money you have in the market is for the long run, you shouldn't get scared out and allow it to affect your peace of mind.
We're going to continue our conversation here with Jeff Serino. Let me put a phone number on the screen, 440-519-0300. You can get in touch with him there, or you can go to alphaplanners.com. You see that website at the bottom of the screen as well, alphaplanners.com, because you are with Alpha Planning in Solon.
Yes.
You and I were chatting just a little bit before we started the broadcast today about financial coaching. What is that?
Well, financial coaching is something that we've added as a new dimension to what we do. And what it means is that we're still an advisor and help people analyze and get their financial plan and financial house in order. But what happens is there's a great disconnect because time eventually starts to make the understanding of the client of what they're doing, it fades away. And then a lot of the financial media that tries to scare people, prey on fear and greed, tends to get them off track. Mm-hmm. So the coaching is that we do monthly educational classes for our clients and for people who just want to come. They're free. And essentially, they're always something fresh and that reaffirms. And it's this ongoing coaching relationship is what really, when the market goes down, is when you need a coach the most to make sure that you keep yourself focused on your objective. And if you're set up correctly with the right risk level and diversification that we talked about, you should be fine in the long run.
What do you tell people who say, I don't make a lot of money, I don't have a big salary? Why should I talk to a financial planner? I don't have any money to invest. What do you say?
Well, I think that there's lots of levels of people that you could deal with in this arena, but typically, if they're not going to pay a flat fee to a fee-based advisor like myself for advice, which they could always do that. Yeah. If they do not have assets to manage or some sort of ongoing way that you have a relationship with them, it's a lot tougher. I mean, they really do need to try to get some lump
saved. Get somebody. You need somebody.
Just regularly, even if you're not sure where to put it right away, just get it out of your normal checking account.
As a friend of mine used to say, if you take a little bit of money and do it for a long time, you end up with a big chunk of change. Right. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah. And pay yourself first.
Pay yourself first. The name of the book is The Skinny on How to Have a Fat Retirement. It is written by Jeff Serino, who's a certified advisor here, financial planner. And so good to have you on the broadcast. Where can we find the book?
Thank you, Lynn. The book is available at Amazon.
Amazon.com.
Amazon.com.
More information on everything we've been talking about. And there's a phone number there you can get in touch with Jeff Serino. Many thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Lynn.
You've put money in my pocket. There's too. That's the name of the game. Log on to newsnet5.com each week to see what's coming up on Kaleidoscope. Coming up next, we will continue. We'll be talking to Paramjit Singh of the Cleveland Coalition for Peace and Nonviolence and Peggy Zone Fisher of the President and CEO of the Diversity Center of Northeast Ohio. Taking a break, but back in a moment. Welcome back to Kaleidoscope. Good to have you with us. The president and the CEO of the Diversity Center of Northeast Ohio is with us, Peggy Zone Fisher, and so is Paramjit Singh, who is with the Cleveland Coalition for Peace and Nonviolence. They're both here to talk about the importance of multicultural education and diversity. Good to have you with us, Paramjit and Peggy.
Good to be with you.
Peggy, remind us of the mission of the Diversity Center of Northeast Ohio.
Well, the Diversity Center began in 1927, and it really started as the National Conference of Christians and Jews. And so over the years, the name changed to better reflect the work we do. But the mission is we work to eliminate bias, bigotry, and racism. And we do this through education and training and advocacy work.
Well, it's good. And thank you for what you do too in the community.
Thank you.
Paramjit Singh is Cleveland Coalition for Peace and Nonviolence. I know you work with various organizations. You and I have interviewed each other for years. What's your involvement with Peggy Zone now in the Diversity Center?
Well, again, the idea is that in order to get rid of violence, because ever since 9/11, there have been situations where they look at a Sikh wearing a turban and a beard, and they relate it to Osama bin Laden. We don't want anybody to shoot me for that, but in any event, since 9/11, there have been over 800 incidents all over the country pertaining to the Sikhs. Therefore, we felt that multicultural education is very, very critical in schools, and Diversity Center has been doing it for quite some time, even though we were given the opportunity to present it to the principals of Cleveland School District. There were 140 of them. nobody came, not even 5 of them came to discuss what can be done in schools.
Well, what can we do? Well, what are we doing with this, Peggy?
Well, one of the things that we do, and we do work very closely with, we have over the years with Paramjeet and organizations that he works with, and we go in to the schools, and you know, when we do diversity training, it's not, sometimes people think that's just race, but it's all of the isms, and so religion is a big part of it too. We do a lot of anti-bullying programs. We talk about race, gender, age, religion, physical challenges. So it is important for, when we work with young people, it is important for us to work with them to help them become an ally, stand up. How can they really be there and be a voice for those that are being discriminated against?
Can these school systems get in touch with you and link
Absolutely.
up with you, and you can
Absolutely.
make a coalition here with other school districts if they just give you a phone call?
Just give us a phone call. We work in 9 counties in Northeast Ohio. Many schools, and what Paramjeet is saying, you know, there are principals and teachers that want this education. Many schools don't have the funding to bring in our organization. So we do a big walk in May.
Yeah, Peggy's phone number, by the way, of the Diversity Center of Northeast Ohio is 216-752-3000, 216-752-3000. Paramjeet, you've been working with this peace initiative, trying to work it worldwide. This fits in. What she's doing and what you're doing fit like hand in glove, doesn't it?
Absolutely. All we are trying to do is to alleviate ignorance. From a Judeo-Christian culture, which was strongly the basis of this country, since the immigration laws changed in the mid-60s, we are no longer Judeo-Christian. We are a much broader and a wider group of people living in this country.
Generally speaking, are we getting there, Peggy? Are we getting there?
We are getting there with young people. We do a lot of this work and training in corporations and, you know, with adults. That's a little more challenging, but it's important. But young people are where the education must begin. And they do get it. They want it. The challenges, as I said, is, you know, we do programs that talk about our stories. Leon, if I know, we give young people an opportunity to tell their story. If I know your story, Leon, we all have our own stories. If I know you and your story, then I understand who you are, and I understand where you come from, and I'm not quite as afraid, or I don't come with those unconscious biases that I might have if I didn't know everyone's stories. So it's important for us to teach and to communicate with young people, because they really, I mean, as silly as it's, I mean, they are our future.
Let me put a website on the screen and a couple of phone numbers as well. You can get in touch with Paramjeet at ficacleveland.org, FICA, or you can make a phone call to 923-1265. That's in the 216 area code. And of course, Peggy's own Fisher's number is 216-752-3000, or you can go to diversitycenterneo.org for more information on everything we've been talking about. We're going to talk to them for a second segment. I'm going to take a break. We'll continue with our guests, Paramjeet Singh and Peggy's own Fisher, after these words, especially for you. Welcome back. My guests are Paramjeet Singh with the Cleveland Coalition for Peace and Nonviolence, and Peggy's own Fisher with the Diversity Center of Northeast Ohio. During the commercial break, you and I were talking, Paramjeet. You've got a petition going right now. What is that petition about?
Well, there are 2 petitions. One is to make Cleveland a city of peace and nonviolence, because we are the only city in the world that has a Gandhi statue on a Martin Luther King Drive. The 2 legends that changed the face of the 20th century.
Part of the cultural gardens right here in Cleveland.
Absolutely. The other thing is that we have, the Sikh coalition is pushing a petition through the Congress to allow Sikhs to wear their turban and beard, which is their garment. If you go into history, this represents being a saint and a soldier. Try to handle things saintly, in a saintly fashion. If not, you have to be a soldier to fight for what is right.
And you want Sikhs to be able to wear their garments in the U.S.
and
military?
they were allowed with special conditions, but we don't see any reason, because Sikhs may be 2% of the world population. However, they serve as 30% of the Indian Army. They are in the Army in Canada, they are in the Army in England, and so on and so forth. Why this great country, e pluribus unum, is not accommodating the Sikhs?
And they should make the accommodation. So you got this petition going, and you're petitioning Congress to make some changes. Peggy, you brought something along with you here. Let me get a shot of this. Maybe we can get a shot of this on camera 3. Tell me about this walk, rock, and run.
It's always the first Saturday in May, so that's May 3rd this year. It's our 12th year. And the walk, we're talking about schools and doing work with young people. Many schools are struggling, as we all know, and with funds and funding and laying off educators and larger class sizes. So in order for us to continue the work that we do with about 25,000 students in Northeast Ohio, we raise dollars through the walk. So if a school says to us, we really want to continue our programs with you, but we can't afford to pay to get to scholar, we can scholarship students. So we scholarship schools, we scholarship students through the dollars we raise at this walk. It is critical. And the walk is phenomenal. We have over 8,000 people that come. They get that day, they must register online or the day of. You've got to be registered. You will receive that day tickets to the Rock Hall, to the Science Center, to the U.S. COD, to the Baseball Heritage Museum, all admission tickets for free, but you must be registered in order to do that.
It is May 3rd, May 3rd of this year. It is a 3-mile walk and a 5-mile run, begins and ends at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Music. Right,
it's a really fun family adventure.
You're getting the word out on that. You can get more information on this by going to the website, diversitycenterneo.org, or calling the phone number I gave you, 752-3000. This is all vital. This is all in keeping with what's impressive is you brought your philosophy and your philosophy, which is really the same philosophy, and you have melded them and welded them together to make for a better world. Right, Paramjit?
Yes. We would like people to go to clevelandpeople.com, which is an excellent website to understand different cultures that live in Cleveland. At the same time, you will see you can pledge for nonviolence for the city. It's the golden rule to treat everyone the way you would like to be treated.
And if we did that, we wouldn't have to we wouldn't be covering the stories that we're covering.
That's
Absolutely.
Right.
Sadly. You've got something going on too with Camp Joy and Camp White. Well, tell me about this.
It's called Camp Star. It's students learning about race relations. We bring about 25 students from the inner city of Cleveland in June down to Cincinnati. We stay 4 days at Camp Star, or at Camp Joy, take them to the Freedom Center, to the underground. We do Underground Railroad simulations with them. We go to the Trail of Tears. It's very, very important. The Trail of Tears is the Indian, it's a separate section where you can go through and learn about our Native American Indians. Native American Indians and their heritage. And so it's really important, and these young people don't know each other when they leave Cleveland. And by the time they come back, they have done some really heavy, deep digging kind of work for 4 days.
And if we can affect this younger generation, Paramjit, if we can affect, in our final minute or so, if we can affect this younger generation, we truly can change the world. It was Gandhi who said, save the life of one person, it is as if you have saved the entire world.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact,
baby steps.
Prior to Peggy's own taking the responsibility at NCCJ, or the Diversity Center, we developed a 2-sided jigsaw puzzle. On one side was a montage of humanity. On the other side was a map of the world. And we had 2 groups of students put the jigsaw puzzle together. And invariably, the one with faces of people was put faster than the other. So in order to know the world, you need to know the people of the
You
world.
need to know the people. I used to give a speech when I would speak in schools, and I would take a map of the world, but it had no political boundaries. You could not see the difference between Canada, the United States, or Mexico, or between Germany and France. You would just see the world, just all of us living together.
Nice.
Thank you so much for being on the
Well,
broadcast.
thank you for giving us this opportunity. And
Same here. Thank
Peggy
you.
Zone Fisher and Paramjit Singh, we appreciate you being on the
Thank you.
broadcast for what you do as well.
Thank you.
Peace unto you, and peace unto you as well. Taking a break right now. We'll be right back. This is Kaleidoscope. I'm Leon Bibb. I'll be back in a moment. This is the Morning Exchange segment of Kaleidoscope. Good to have you with us as always. And Marsha Maccabee, always good to have you here as well. From the Urban League, the president and the CEO of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland.
Thank you. How you doing this morning, Leon?
I'm fine, and you're doing well too.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'll tell you, this has been a great season over these last couple of weeks. You know, the real measure of a impactful nonprofit organization is really just how much it's serving its community, and how much impact it's creating for the citizens and the clients that it serves. So we are really, really excited and encouraged about a recent graduation that we just had in the last couple of weeks. The Mayor's Community Benefits Agreement that we've been talking about over the last few months and so forth, we're trying to really expand inclusion in the construction industry, and not only is the mayor's office involved, but a number of black contractors and a number of other nonprofit organizations and so forth. But our role at the Urban League has been to recruit and to get the first class going, the pilot class. And we did that also in partnership with Towards Employment. So the exciting thing is that we have had our first class to graduate.
Oh, good.
So we now have 10 individuals who have gone through both soft skill training that was provided by the Urban League and Towards Employment, and then those individuals went through 8 weeks of training in the construction trades at Cuyahoga Community College, and they now have completed that stage. They completed drug testing and all the things that are necessary to get into that field. And what's also exciting, it's been aided by the labor unions. The building trades themselves have been right at the table, working alongside and encouraging and understanding what's going on with those individuals and mentoring them and coaching them and so forth.
So you've got everybody seated at the table. If you can get everybody at the table, we can make a deal.
Get this done. That's exactly right.
Well,
that's
congratulations
exactly
to the people who went through that class.
Thank
Congratulations
you.
to all of you. Okay. That's going to do it for us. Take care, everybody. Be well.
Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.